The Kentucky Wildcats get absolutely hammered by Ohio State. It was painful. It was a really ugly loss, start to finish. And I don't want to talk about it, but we're going to on today's episode of the Wildcats Today Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak, writer over at Kentucky Wildcats on SI, joined as always by Carson Nash. Carson rocking his new hat. So that was a Christmas gift. Who got you that?
Yeah, no, my mom and my dad got me it, so pretty
That's a great hat.
stuff.
That is a great hat.
We're back after our break.
Yes.
How was your Christmas, Andrew?
It was absolutely wonderful, as you can tell from my voice. It was a little party hardy action at the ye old Chinaway pub last night with my family. Had a great time. If you saw me singing karaoke last night, you didn't. It takes a lot of sprites for me to go up there and do that, but obviously took care of business. But it was a good holiday, pretty good holiday. Carson, how about yourself?
Tell the viewers our go-to karaoke song.
Okay, it's pretty simple. It's which I did sing last night. I actually was up there multiple times, never done that, don't remember any of it. But 2 Dozen Roses. It's a go-to, it's a classic. I actually called you last night trying to get you to bring your behind over there and sing 2 Dozen Roses with me. You were occupied, you were asleep. But
yeah.
That's all right. That's all right. Because I think I did it justice. I think I did it justice. But I mean, Carson, what the heck, man? What the heck was that on Saturday? When Andrew Stefaniak and Carson Nash have a keg, Kentucky's not supposed to lose basketball games. That should be a rule of thumb. And by goodness, they lost. I mean, Carson, what happened?
Well, Gosh, it was an all systems failure from the start of the game. In my opinion, the simplest way to put it is we got punked. I mean, we got thrown around. They absolutely dominated us from start to end. And I think Kieran's apple pie moonshine might have had something to do with it, but that's out of the conversation. That could have been something to do with it, but I mean, the Cats just absolutely get dominated. The players, Aaron Bradshaw plays great on the Buckeyes just to throw more hurt on top of it. So yeah, I mean, just pure domination.
I mean, they didn't even. What was weird about it is we didn't shoot the three ball well, nor did they. When we're 4-22 from three, Carson, Kentucky's going to lose a lot of basketball games. It's just the reality. And what's really frustrating, I'd like to look back on those 18 misses and see how many of them we would consider open. Not every one of them. We're missing some open shots, though, Carson. Some shots that to win games in the gauntlet that is SEC basketball this year, you can't miss a ton of open threes. You got to shoot 50% on your open looks. You got to, if not 55, 60. I mean, especially this team. It was just, I mean, the way you described it in all systems failure, it's a great way to describe this game. Nothing went right for Kentucky. It was ugly from start to finish. I mean, I think, nobody, I would argue, I'll take Owe. I mean, he had 21 points, right? Pretty solid. He was 4-13. How many free throws did he shoot to go up?
Well, another fun stat, and it's not, might not be exact, but I remember someone saying, we went 5 for 22 from layups. So, I mean, that in itself is putrid. Shooting 17 of 57 from the field, 29.8%, and then a resounding 4 of 22 from three, totaling 18.2%. You aren't going to win any games shooting like that. I mean, you're just not going to win any games shooting like that.
So, this is the way I'm going to look at this game, Carson. Ohio State, they're not a good basketball team. I'm going to be honest with you. Respect to them. Heck of a win. A big night for Ohio State fans that night. They won the playoff game too.
At least they made the Vols look terrible.
Yeah, well, that was $50 well spent betting on Tennessee. Golly.
They cost me $400.
Let's just say, for those who have ever heard of Vegas Matt, if you've ever heard the term get even or get even worse, Tennessee was that approach, and we got worse. But that's all right. But I mean, I don't think you could make an argument that anyone played good in this game. I mean, did anyone play like I mean, Andrew Carr, 3 of 9, Williams, 2 of 6, Owe, 4 of 13. He did go 13 of 13 the free throw line, which is awesome. Jackson Robinson, 3 of 11. Lamont Butler, whoa, man, 1 of 7 from Lamont. I mean, after a game where he goes 10 for 10 and scores 33 points. I mean, that was just, I mean, it was ugly. I mean, so I want the focus, Carson, for us to shift to like what has to be better. Like to you, I'm obviously shooting, and we'll get more into that, but what has to be better in the future?
For me, basically, I mean, you can control shooting, but not all the time. I would say physicality. That's my main thing. I think physicality has to improve. You're getting pushed out of bounds on backdoor cuts that could be layups by the other team opponents fighting over screens. So not fighting through that and just getting pushed around instead of getting fouled or getting a layup. I think that has to get better. It also will result in open shots for other teammates, making easier looks. I just think physicality as a whole is my main focus for this team.
I'm with you. Because here's the deal. You know who is physical? Every team in the SEC. Every team in the SEC. So, I mean, and then once again, the reality, okay, so let's think about it like this. Ohio State was 50 in KenPom or 50 in the net ranking, so it's quad 1 game for us, right? Quad 1 loss. But look at it like this. I think that they're probably realistically the 13th, 14th, 15th, team in the SEC, if you really think about it that way. So that's the way you got to look at this. That's not even a good SEC. If they were an SEC team, they wouldn't even be a good team. So you can't not play well in this conference this year. I promise you this, don't care if it's Missouri, don't care if it's Vandy, don't care who it is. If you play like that, you lose in the SEC this year. Physicality, no question. I just think at times, I think our defense is just not where it needs to be. It's still infinitely better than last year.
I think part of that too is physicality. Like we just are not a physical basketball team right now.
And at the end of the day, physical basketball teams win games. I mean, you've got to be physical out there. You got to be. And I agree with you. That's definitely a point of concern that we need to dial in. We need to dial that in. So, I mean, I'm without a doubt concerned about the future. Now, Kentucky's going to win some games that they shouldn't because they go 14 for 24 from 3, and they're going to lose some games because of this. What I think we need to remember, Carson, is what we talked about before the season started, which is there's going to be games where we shoot 58% from 3 on 30 attempts and no one beats us. And then there's games where we go 4-22 and we would lose to anybody, So,
but we aren't getting open to get good enough looks because we aren't being physical and fighting through all of the physicality. So I think everything stems from physicality. If you boost your physicality, you're going to see improvement in every area of basketball, in my opinion.
I mean, I'm just telling you, Carson, I think that's the way that people need to look at this loss is they're going to happen. The other thing that we also have to remember, that they're going to be really, really ugly games when you play and shoot like this, and games where there's the Dick's Sporting Goods plastic thing on the rim. So when that happens, defense, physicality, rebounding have to be able to keep you in ball games, and it wasn't the case in this game. I think a great argument is the 3, even the loss to Clemson, Duke, Gonzaga, Clemson. You played a not great first half in all 3 of those games, but defense kept you within punching distance. When you're this Kentucky team, you can score 9 points like that, right? You can with their ability to shoot and quickness up and down the floor. So knowing that that's the case, if you can just hang around, you're going to make your run. We did against Gonzaga down 16, did against Duke down 9, did against Clemson, fell short, but made a run. the defense didn't keep us around in this game, and that led to the 20.
That's what me and you were kind of sitting there in the first half. All of us were sitting there. We're like, yeah, we're down now, but like second half we're coming back because we always do. And then this game we kind of just laid flat and stayed that way instead of fighting back with the fire that we've seen the past against Gonzaga and Duke. And yeah,
who I'm putting this loss on?
Who?
Cam Boff for not being in attendance.
Yeah,
the event. That's
a good call. I mean, that's a fair sign. I'm putting
he's allergic to watching Kentucky games with the fellows. It sounds like.
You know what I think it might have been? I think it might have been our players too concerned about getting engaged in New York, not too worried about playing the game. But you got to do what you got to do when you're a man sometimes. So
yeah.
Congrats to Andrew Carr and College Taylor, of course. I'm just messing around, but here's my thing, right? So you play on the 21st. You have until the 31st. You lost. I know it's eating Mark Pope alive. I know it's eating him alive. I know it's eating the team alive. I think the strides that are made over these 10 days, Brown, and then the beginning of the SEC play are crucial to determining how good this team is going to be.
Yeah. And don't forget, we start SEC play with a bang, ladies and gentlemen, with those darn Gators coming to Lexington on the 4th. Is that a Saturday? We talked about this. It's an 11 o'clocker, right?
It's 11 a.m.
That's going to be a rough morning.
Jake said McCarthy's afterwards because he turns 21 on the 3rd.
Oh, it's not a bad idea. So you listen to your start of SEC play. Okay. And Carson, I might even ask you to give me a prediction in these games because I might make a negative one. Florida at home, at Georgia, Mississippi State on the road, number 19 Mississippi State, Texas A&M at home, Alabama at home.
That's tough. I mean, but like you said, we don't have an easy game. Like once we play Brown, the rest of the way is going to be tough. Every game you could lose.
I mean, even at Vandy that ain't an easy way. I mean, it's not. No. Now that'll be a home game, but
I genuinely think you're correct about the Ohio State take too. I think they're the 14th best team in the SEC, maybe even worse.
Now Georgia, I'm kind of curious. They beat Notre Dame, Grand Canyon, Georgia Tech. They lost to Marquette. They beat St. John's. So I mean, they haven't played a crazy schedule, but they played a few teams. And I mean, there's no guarantee on this schedule. Seriously, not Vandy.
I think the game I'm most worried about in that stretch, I'm going to exclude the Alabama game. I think Mississippi State is going to be rocking. And I think, they have a sour taste in their mouth from last time we played there.
Yeah. Mr. Shepard called game.
Yeah.
And they have this Hubbard kid who is damn good.
Oh, yeah.
Josh Hubbard
we've seen him.
Is one of my favorite players that I hate because he is so fun to watch. He is so good, but he is the deep three king. What's he shooting from three this year? 40%. And he shoots like 80 footers and he's shooting 40%. Like, and that's probably
he has a Malik Monk trigger if that resonates with anybody.
I mean, listen, and he shoots 7, 6, 8, 9, 10, 7, 11, 6, 10, 5, 12, 8. He lets him fly now. So no,
and you got to pick him up as soon as he crosses half court.
Yes. So that's a tough game. I'll tell you what, Carson, we have some great games in Rupp Arena this year. Just thinking about it, you got Florida to kick off SEC play, A&M, Alabama, obviously Tennessee, Arkansas, Auburn. You have a really good slate in Rupp Arena this year. I'm kind of fired up to see all these games.
Me too. It's going to be really exciting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a great, great stretch. So I'm kind of fired up to see what's going to happen there with those games because they ain't going to be easy. I tell you that much.
I had one more thing from the Ohio State game and kind of pretty much the whole season I've been noticing it. It's kind of a trend. And I think it's costing our team points. Well, not our team, but it's giving the other team points. Yeah. Is Amari Williams not jumping and contesting shots? I feel like he's just always on the floor with his hands down. I mean, there was layups in that game that he could have jumped up and pinned it off the backboard, and he just decides to wait and sit down. Because, I mean, you're playing the pump fake. I get it. You don't want to get a foul. But at some point, it's on tape, and the other team's going to see that and be like, hey, let's just attack the rim. And we know he's not going to contest on the first pump, so just shoot it.
I have a feeling that Omari Williams is going to become a real point of conversation for this team. In all honesty, I think on Monday, because we'll do something on Monday because our game's Tuesday this week. Mm-hmm. I think we need to have Omari Williams, a deeper Omari Williams conversation on Monday, because there's definitely some concern there. You can't watch and say there isn't. And it's funny because the analytics love him. He's our best player according to the analytics. But I mean, have you ever seen Trouble with the Curve, Carson?
Yeah.
Analytics aren't everything. Don't tell Lane Kiffin, but they aren't.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just knowing that it's like I don't get it, man. And now, I think you got to play him because he does some stuff well. I mean, I'm not saying don't play him. I'm saying he's got to be better for us to be elite. He's got to be better for us to achieve something special this season.
100%, at least defensively, because you got to be able to. I mean, the bigs in the SEC, there's nothing like it. So you got to be able to defend that position.
Yeah, no, there's no kidding. So okay, give me this, Carson, because after the Brown game, we will do, which is on Tuesday. We'll probably, so we don't play. How long do we have another big gap after that?
It's Florida on Saturday after Brown.
Okay, on Thursday, we will do our SEC prediction show. But give me we'll run through game by game. We'll look more into it, look where we're going, who's coming here. But give me a ballpark record prediction after the Ohio State game that we get what we do in SEC play. 18 games.
18 games left?
Yeah, in SEC play. We have 19, obviously, with Brown.
Okay, so we're going to beat Brown.
I'm saying just SEC record. I don't want to have to do math and add the other stuff together.
Okay. 11-7.
You know what? That's a really good. I thought you were going to come and say 14-4, which is not 14-4 would win is going to win the SEC by 2 or 3 games.
14-4 is going to get you a 1 seed.
Yeah. No, I think 11-7, 12-6. You could talk me into. Mm-hmm. I'm not going. You could try and talk me into 12-6. I ironically would have said 11-7. Because I don't think we're going 10-8. Because I mean, there are games. I mean, you play Vandy twice. We should beat them both times.
I mean, there's not a one game on the schedule where you're going in like there's no way we lose this game. You know?
Yeah. I mean, at Missouri, but then again, didn't Missouri just beat Kansas?
Yeah, Missouri beat Kansas. And, I mean, they got some good transfers. Mark Mitchell from Duke went there. They've got some guys. They boosted that team up a little bit from the no-win SEC year last year.
Like, I don't even feel comfortable sitting here. And this is the sad reality. You could make the argument that they are the worst team in the SEC. Them, South Carolina, Vandy. South Carolina being bad kind of surprising to me. But you can make the argument that those are the worst teams in the SEC. I don't feel comfortable sitting here saying, yeah, we're going to steamroll Missouri on the road. I don't feel comfortable saying that at all. I mean, all you need to know is, the ESPN matchup predictor. I mean, it gives them a 44% chance to win this game. Like this is a game last year that it would have been 71% for us and, 29 for them or whatever. Like this has been a bit surprising. So
100%.
Just this conference, and it's good for this conference. At the end of the day,
it's great for the conference. It's great for college basketball, in my opinion. So, and for me, if you're a Kentucky fan, you got to love it, right? Your team's going to be an established team by the end of SEC play because you're going to go through the trials and tribulations of the conference schedule. So, getting everyone's best is going to be fantastic for this team, and it's only going to help us in March.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Carson, any other thoughts before we get out of here?
That's about all I got. I hope everyone had a great and happy Merry Christmas. I know we're gonna continue to celebrate this weekend and up
Great.
until New Year's.
Happy Merry Christmas.
A great and happy, yeah.
So you not just great or happy, you great and happy.
Both,
right?
yeah.
Great
both.
and happy Merry.
Yes,
Christmas.
yes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so that'll do it for us today. We will have a show on Monday, talking a little Amari Williams, a little Brown. They might be the best like mid-major, obviously.
Very intelligent team.
Yes. Cornell, Hofstra, Slaughter. But they're better than you think. So we'll talk about that. Though I bet they end up being the best mid-major WKU. They'll be one of the better, mid-majors we play. Obviously excluding Gonzaga. So we will talk about that game. Talk a little bit about Amari Williams, and then on Thursday next week we will break down SEC. We're going to run through our predictions of all 18 games. Going to be a really fun show. So that is the plan. Hope everyone had.
I know we got comments about the football show. We're pushing that back for a little bit. We're going to have to finish up some basketball stuff, but we want to get to it. We're just going to have to push that back a little bit.
Yeah, push it back. Push it real good. Yeah, I'm fired up today. So that's the plan for next week. Really appreciate y'all stopping in. Hope everyone had a great, merry, happy, elite, electric holiday. And we will see y'all on Monday right here on the Wildcats Today Podcast.